Hello, friends, and welcome to your weekend on Spectrum News 1. I'm Sarah Pilla. Here's some of what we're working on for you today. And chaos continues at the Kabul airport with thousands desperate to flee the Afghan capital. You'll get the latest on the Taliban takeover. Plus, all that and more coming up. Your weekend on Spectrum News 1 starts now. The refugee crisis in Afghanistan is growing as the Taliban has taken over the country. Tens of thousands of people are trying to leave the country as many Afghans, especially women and children, fear life under Taliban rule. Our Lorene Ayoub spoke with an Afghan refugee here in LA who fears for the future of his homeland. Earlier this week, the Pentagon announced that the U.S. has the capacity to resettle 22,000 Afghan refugees in the coming weeks. The total number of people trying to leave is expected to be much larger than that. Now from Afghanistan to Haiti, where more than 2,000 people are dead in Haiti after last week's devastating earthquake. Many more are injured. Then just days later, a tropical storm hit, further complicating rescue and recovery efforts. And of course, these back-to-back natural disasters follow the assassination of the country's president last month. Our Lauren Posen spoke with one volunteer on his way to help the island nation. Well, class is back in session. LAUSD students just finished their first week of the school year. And for some parents, the return to in-person classes is a huge relief after a year of Zoom and distance learning. Chase Beach went to Hooper Avenue Elementary to find out more. Chase. Thanks, Jada. Air cleaning and filtration can help reduce airborne contaminants, including particles containing viruses. And according to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, they're designed to filter contaminants out of the air. But still, officials say air purifiers should not replace wearing masks indoors.
It's Lemonade Day in Lomita. I'm Zarina Karazada, and I'll share with you why lemonade stands are popping up all across the city, like this one. Bree, thank you so much. She gave me a frozen lemonade with mango.
It's also mango flavored.
Oh, so good.
Sounds so refreshing, Zarina. I could definitely use one of those right now. I love mango. I'd like to try that frozen mango lemonade. Well, do you have any pictures you want to share with us? Perhaps you sipping on some nice lemonade this summer. If you're on Twitter, of course, you can use the hashtag Sharesocal. You might even want to, give that to us because we'll put it on the air, perhaps. We love to see what our friends in Southern California are doing. Stay with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Well, as you know, California is in the midst of an epic drought. It touches every part of the state, including the rapidly shrinking Salton Sea. I went to learn more about some possible solutions. Here it is. Dry, cracked earth. This area that C2C Canal Company partner Rod Smith is walking on was once covered in water.
If this is decades ago, we'd be water skiing.
This is Johnson's Landing in Salton City, the Salton Sea's marina that once had enough water to exist as a recreational area where boats once roamed. The state's largest lake has been declining for decades, and that decline is accelerating, as you can see in these images that show just the last 17 years.
We're now well past the second decade of a broad, widespread understanding of the problems of the Salton Sea.
On our way to the site, Rod tells me that evaporation and water diversion have all contributed to the sea's demise. Rod's company, the C2C Canal Company, has come up with a solution: import water from the Sea of Cortez through a series of pipes.
Reverse the decline in the Salton Sea, bring up the elevation, stabilize it to address the public health problems.
As the sea recedes, the surrounding areas, including Mexico, have turned into a toxic dust bowl. In 2017, C2C Canal Company submitted their solution to the state's Natural Resources Agency. But forward movement has been stagnant, a point of contention for Rod's managing partner, Gary Jennings.
What business are you in? Are you in the fixing the lake problem, getting rid of the dust problem, not letting little kids get their lungs ruined? Saving property values, protecting the environment? Are you in any of those businesses? Because if you were, you sure as hell would do your job and get that effing lake fixed.
Their proposal is a 120-mile canal path estimated to cost nearly $800 million in construction and payments and an additional $40 million in operating costs per year. Gary says the best way to pay for this project is through federal and state tax credits. Then the state wouldn't have to reach into its own pocket.
Their job is to buy water, not to go to Mexico, not to negotiate these contracts, because we've done all that. They just need to commit to buy the water and fix the Salton Sea and get rid of the 100,000 acres in dust.
While Gary and Rod are anxious for the Natural Resources Agency to decide, the agency's next step is to have an independent panel study all the submitted proposals for their viability. The panel's review will take a year or so to complete. It's a timeline C2C Canal Company doesn't trust, and while they wait, the Salton Sea gets worse, and taking no action will have dire consequences.
Long-term, uninhabitable. Short-term, poverty.
And Rod says the challenge is before us. The state just needs to pick a path.
Do we want to solve a problem today, or are we going to fool around for a decade and have a problem that's, twice or 3 times as large?
Doing nothing is clearly not the answer. And while time continues to tick, the window to save the Salton Sea is shrinking. So at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic, local pet adoption rates soared as people look for comfort and companionship. But as many people return to the office and their daily routine, LA Animal Services is seeing a return to the status quo. Ariel Wessler explains. Well, here's a refreshing story for you. Lemonade stands are popping up all over the city of Lomita, and for a good cause. It's part of an effort to teach kids about entrepreneurship and financial literacy. Our Zarina Karazada has the story. Well, cruising in classic cars like this to bring awareness to prostate cancer. A longtime advocate for cancer fundraising was doing just that when suddenly he became a cancer patient himself. He thought he would never ride again until he heard about a new robotic procedure. Our Joe Kwan picks up the story from there. So the connection between creating art and improved mental health is well documented. Now, that's certainly the case for one local glassblower. Our Christopher G shares with us how the artist is using his work to highlight his struggles with bipolar disorder. And that's our show. Thanks for spending your weekend with us on Spectrum News 1. I'm Sarah Pilla. We'll leave you now with a lookout at Leo Carrillo's State Beach in Malibu, courtesy of Surfline.com. Have a great weekend, everyone.